All right, what's up, everybody? I am Sharona Sledge with Profitable VGB, curated by the one, the only, Isa Elliott. Her name is Isa August Nightingale. It just depends on when you found how amazing she is, what name you know her by. But if you've heard the voice, you've heard the voice. And so we're here, we're talking to some other amazing vocalists that maybe you've heard of, maybe you haven't heard of. But by the end of this, you'll get some wisdom from these different sisters and brothers who have a lot to offer. And I'm so excited. Because today we have the one, the only, Miss Chelsea Peaches West. And let me tell you, if you listen to this, you probably already know her. You just don't know you know her. Because she was, now I think this is cool because I grew up in the church. Now, so she grew up Kojic and like many artists started singing in the church, but she was the youngest member of God's Property. Okay, that was the album. Okay, I mean the first God's Property album. I was singing some songs yesterday off of that. So the youngest member at that time with Kirk Franklin, and you know, if you were around during that time, that changed your life, okay? But not only that, she's worked with Tamela Mann, Myron Butler, Marvin Sapp, Fred Hammond, Nicki Minaj, K. Michelle. She was part of the sing-off, Tyrese Brandy, Snarky Puppy. Come on. Janet Jackson, Kanye West, like the list literally goes on. That's not even the whole list. Like I'd be sitting here and y'all be timing me if I said everything that she's done. But I'm so excited to have Peaches with us because there is so much wisdom that you all will be able to glean from her in her experience, especially when we think of the longevity. And that's why I think I really want to start with the longevity of your career, Peaches, so that people can kind of hear how you started, especially at a younger age, and being the youngest in the group you are a part of. So just kind of tell us how you started, how that felt starting off. Yeah, God's Property.
Okay, well, how I started was my mom sings as well. And I have a sister, an older sister who sings too. And growing up Kojic, we grew up kind of close to this family called the Seawright family. A mother, father, 2 daughters, and a son. The daughter sang, the son was a musician. His name is Robert Spud Seawright. And he grew up playing for my mom. He was MDing my mom's band when he was 14 years old. And his mom, Linda Seawright, is actually the founder of God's Property. She started the choir in 1992. And the choir, now in 1992, I was way too young to be a part, but my sister was older, so she was a part, and I was just around all the time. And just singing around the city, it was the best choir in the city. It was the only choir that would show up with a full band, like horns, you name it, like a full band, early 90s, it was popping. So eventually got the attention of Kirk Franklin over the years, and he would start using the choir for different recordings and things that he had going on. And when I was around 11, Miss Seawright asked me, asked my mom if I could join the choir because I was just around all the time anyway. And we started working on the record when I was 13. And everything kind of took off super unexpectedly after that. It was interesting. It was a blessing. It opened my mind up at a really young age to the possibilities of life. So I've never had this one-track mind of thinking of, I have to get a job, or I can only do this, or school is my only option. At that point, my world was open. I was 14 when we did my first major TV performance was the Essence Awards. Yeah, crazy. Remember the Essence Awards?
14 though? That's crazy.
14. And it was hosted by Halle Berry and Sinbad. And at that point, it's like, you're 14 looking at all the stars that you've only ever seen on TV or magazines, and they're looking at you. Right. So I was just like, whoa. Like I said, it just opened up my world up to endless possibilities. So at that point, I knew that this was it for me. Like,
yeah,
that was just it. And, thanks be unto God. I've had my share of lows, trust me, but I've been able to do what my giftings have allowed me to do for 20 plus years at this point. So I've been blessed to do some pretty cool things in that time frame. I'm super duper grateful.
That's amazing. Because listen, if I was 14 on the Essence Awards, my head would be so big right now. But like, first of all, y'all can't tell me nothing because I was singing for Halle Berry.
But you know, the crazy thing is, I've always had almost not split personalities, but I'm very shy and bashful in real life. And, you know, when it's time to perform, that's a whole different side. So at the time I was still in regular school, public schools, I did not like for my school friends and my school people to know what I did in real life.
Wow.
Like, I wanted to keep the two as separate as possible. At school, I was Chelsea. Outside of school, I was Peaches. I do my thing. I go to the studio. I do these shows. And when I come back to school, I wanted to be regular. But me having the type of supportive mother that I have, she would, when I would go out of town, she would call the school and tell the principal, you know, Chelsea's going to be on David Letterman and so on and so forth. So when I would get back to school, everybody knew. And it was like my cover was blown. My secret was out. My cover was blown, which was, you know, it was some adjustment because I am naturally shy. I don't like a lot of attention. So that was an adjustment, but I wasn't like, it never ever, I still have a hard time believing some of the things that I've done because it just doesn't register for me. Like, oh, I did that. Because once I've done it, it's just like, okay, what's next? You know?
Yeah. Do you think that's why you maybe chose to go more of the background route instead of maybe on stage more?
You know, for a long time, yes. I'm much more open to solo things now than I was in the past. And that was a matter of confidence, to be completely honest. Like I said, growing up in a house with singers, and I mean powerhouse singers, my voice didn't develop that way. I was a late bloomer. So a lot of times I just didn't feel like I was good enough. So being in the background was a very safe place for me. And like I said, over the years, my confidence has grown. You know, I've had to get over and heal from some traumatic experiences that have affected many areas of my life, which has enabled me to believe in myself the way that I guess I'm supposed to, or see me the way God sees me. So now I'm just open. You know, background singing is always going to be a thing for me and something I feel like I can do with my eyes closed. You know, but like I said, I am more open to solo things now. My issue with that now is time. Like, I would love to be recording an EP right now, which is the plan, but I just don't have time. Yeah.
Because you're a mother too.
Yes. Yes, I am. I have a 13-year-old son. So I feel like we've grown up together.
Wow.
Yeah.
So first, you're doing work as a background vocalist, traveling.
Yes.
Okay. Open to doing an EP now.
Yes.
Still have your personal things that you've kind of gone through within this journey.
Yes.
And then you're still being a mother to a teenage boy.
Yes.
Who is being influenced by everything.
Everything.
How do you balance that out with what you do?
Girl, that's how I know the God is real. Cue India Irene now. That's how I know the God is real, because honestly, I don't know. I wish there was a definite answer that I can give you. I do this, I do that, I do this, I do that. Sometimes I look back and I don't even know how we've made it this far.
No.
You know, but we have. And he's an amazing kid. If you met him, you would fall in love with him instantly. He's balanced. He communicates well. So when I see him and I see how people respond to him, it's like, okay, I did something right. I had to have done something right, because he's a product of what I poured into him. So when he shines and, you know, he can, you know, like work a room and he could just, you know, be him and people love it. I was just like, okay, I did not fail there. Because for me, as much as I love music and singing and traveling and all the gifts that God has blessed me with, the most important thing for me as an individual, as a woman, as a mother, is to succeed at that.
Yeah.
Because if I fail at being a mother, if I fail at, you know, at being the things that matter beyond the stage, then the successes that happen from the stage don't matter as much to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's taken, I've had one heck of a village to assist me from the time he was born up until now. When I found out I was pregnant, of course I was devastated. It wasn't something I was ready for at the time. And my mom, she just, you know, she promised me, she was just like, you know, your life is not going to change. You know, you'll still be able to do the things that you love to do. You'll still be able to travel. She was like, I got you. I'm going to hold you down. And she's done that. She has done that. And we've had our moments, you know, it's been mountains, it's been valleys. But beyond anything or everything, I'm just super grateful, because had it not been for my mother and the friends that I have that have stepped in, you know, in my place and in my stead when I couldn't be there, they pick them up to get haircuts and take them shopping, or, you know, to just meet the need when I wasn't physically there, you know, that's everything to me. And I owe so many people so many things, because I've had a solid village. And without that, I definitely wouldn't have gotten to this point for sure.
Ooh, I love your perspective on things, because you know, I think so many people who are talking, I'm expecting now my first, but
congratulations.
Thank you, girl. And it's a boy too.
Oh, you don't love it, girl.
Right. So, but I think sometimes, even in talking to friends and things, we can be so nearsighted to what we're doing, our job, our parenting. So for today, you might have had a rough day and you feel like I'm a failure as a mother as a whole. Today I had a bad day in the studio, so I'm a horrible artist or background vocalist, period, right? But what I love about what I hear from you is you're looking like, now that I look at where he is now, I see how he works a room. I see his personality. I look around at my village and I can say, okay, we've done well. This, you know, I have not failed, which I think is beautiful. But on the days where you were nearsighted, on the days where maybe you were on the road or something and something happened and you wish you were there, and you just feel like, yes, I'm glad I have my village and I'm glad they're there, but I'm the mom.
Right.
You know, I'm supposed to be there. I'm supposed to know that this was even happening.
Yeah.
How did you deal with those moments when being torn and being two separate people can't happen anymore because you're a mom on both stages?
Listen, I cry a whole lot. I have cried a whole lot, because even with the solid village, they're not perfect people. You know what I mean? So the ball gets dropped sometimes, and that can be frustrating. And, you know, there are, you know, glitches and misunderstandings. And, you know, with any type of relationship, it's the same. So there are highs and lows. And in those low moments when I wish I was there and I can't be there, I cry, I sleep, I pray, I talk to God, like, if this is where I'm supposed to be, if this is what I'm supposed to be doing, that has to be right. You know what I mean? And you have to give me the insight of how to fix it. What do I need to do? What do I need to change in order for it to be right? Because if it's not right, I don't have no peace.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to rest until I have peace. So, you know, it's a lot of moving around. And like I said, I just thank God for the type of child that I have. He's very easy, super go with the flow. Even when it's inconvenient, if it's like, okay, I know you've been with your grandmother this time, but now she ain't in the best mood, so you got to go over here. He could just kind of go with the flow. And it's like I said, it hasn't always been the most ideal, but it's worked.
Yeah.
I have a question. How did you explain to Boogie what you do?
Honestly, I don't think I ever had to explain it, because he grew up watching it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, when I was pregnant with him, I got pregnant with him right before Myron Butler and Levi's first record came out. So from a baby, he's seen me on stages and performing and then sitting in rehearsals and that whole thing. Now, when he was much smaller, leaving him was a lot harder because he didn't understand. Right. So he would cry. I would have to get super slick with how I left. Like, okay, okay, I'm put you in the bed with my mom and my daddy, and I will sneak off. You know what I mean? Like, it gets real tricky sometimes. But he finally got to a point of understanding where it's like, he would still cry. Today, he still may cry. He's 13 years old. But he gets it. He gets it. And he's always had a special understanding and a patience for me that goes beyond understand. I know it's only God, because as a kid, how do you even process this? But he's always just had this patience with me. Like, I get it, Mom. I understand, Mom. It's okay, Mom. You know?
Yeah. And that says a lot about you too, about how you've structured your relationship with him, and the communication there. Because what that says to me, at least, is there's a trust. I can understand and I can lean towards, believing what you're saying because I trust what I know about you.
And listen, now I have had those types of conversations with him. Like, I know that this is not easy. I know that this is not ideal, but if you would just trust me and trust that I'm doing what I'm doing for us to have a better life, for you to be in a better place, in a better position where you can thrive and grow and be who God created you to be. And those types of conversations, I'm just grateful that God never let me down.
Yeah.
Because I'm asking him to trust me when I'm trusting God, and I'm like, Lord, this has got to work, because he's leaning on my every word. So you have to come through for me. And I'm just grateful. Like, even when I made the decision to move to LA, I didn't bring him right away because I needed time to get acclimated. I needed time to figure it out. And that took about 2 years before I was in a space where I could be like, okay, now you can come and be here with me. And throughout that whole process, it was a constant reminder, like, you just trust me, just trust me, just trust me. Like, and thankfully God has never made a fool out of me. He's never allowed me to be a disappointment to him, because my son can look at my journey in my life and say, I've trusted her, and everything she said she would do, she's done. And now he knows that I've been trusting God this whole way. So this is not only building my faith, it's building his as well. You know what I mean? Because I'm very open and vocal about my faith and me trusting God completely. And a lot of times it may seem foolish, but it's really all that I know. So when God comes through for me, it's not just about me. My son is watching. So now he's adapting the same level of faith that I have to trust God completely as well, which for me is everything.
Yeah. And I think the thing to remember as well, or to consider, is that what you might think is normal for a child's upbringing isn't his normal. So
No.
I would imagine that there's a tendency to apologize for certain things that for him it's like, this is how it's been, kind of like you said, this is how it's been. I don't know any other way. But at the same time, for you as a professional, I'm sure that you have had to set some type of boundaries and standards as to what you say no to make sure that, you're there for certain things. And I think a lot of people, I was in a conference or workshop with Farnsworth Bentley one time, and he said, your brand is what you say no to. And he said, that's people's problems. They don't know what they say no to.
Right.
And that really hit me, because I would start asking people, what are your no's? Like, where are your no's? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you think about not just raising your son, being a whole woman, because you still need time to be you, and really to even go there with certain music emotionally, and to know, like, okay, we're gonna sing this like this. You have to almost be a whole person to understand this is what sadness sounds like, this is what joy, you know what I mean? How do you balance that out? What are the things that you say you have ingrained? I say no to these things kind of consistently, or these are my rules to make sure that I'm in a good place.
At this point, I say no to anything that will disrupt my peace. If it will disrupt my peace in any shape, form, or fashion, it's a no for me.
No matter how much it is.
You said what?
No matter how much they offering you.
Yeah, because we all need money. You know what I mean? We need money to survive and to live and all of that. But I don't live by those principles and standards. You know what I mean? I really trust God, and I trust him. Now, there are some situations that may be uncomfortable, that there may be areas in me that I need to grow from or grow in. So he may put me in uncomfortable situations in order for me to grow. And that's when it takes discernment on my part to know the difference between a growing situation and a situation that's just not for me. So Yeah, so typically when I'm in a situation and my peace is disrupted and I'm not, and for me, I'm not a petty person, so I can get over petty annoyances. Like it's not that, it has to be something that's really like, I can't handle that, you know, for me to say no. And I've recently kind of had to do that with a major opportunity because, you know, people see the glitter of it all. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They see the shine of it all, but they have no idea, like, once you step off that stage, what you may have to deal with beyond that point. And for me, it's not always worth it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now my no's are based on how it's going to affect me emotionally, how it's going to affect me mentally, and if it's going to put me in a bad space, because I'm so spread out, I can't afford to be in a bad headspace because, like, my son needs me, you know, my family needs me, I need myself, you know, so I have to be healthy, and I can't put myself in an unhealthy work environment for the sake of a check. Like, it's not, God is too big for that.
That's good. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not settling on an unhealthy environment for a check. I can't do it. Not at this point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. Now, you mentioned about there being a lot of things that go on in the background,
mm-hmm.
you know, that you have to consider even for your peace.
Yeah.
What are some of those things for people that just think, you know, background, you just go up there, you don't have to worry about, you know, all the drama and this, that, and the other. What are some things that you would tell somebody they need to consider or think about?
Listen,
we've been on tour together, so
yes, we have. You have to consider everything, to be completely honest, you know, because you're surrounded by people, and all people are not good people. Mm-hmm. And everybody's dealing with something, and people have their ways of dealing with whatever it is that they're going through. And some of those ways of dealing are healthy. Some of them are not so healthy. And for those people who are dealing with things in an unhealthy manner, sometimes you have to feel that. You know, sometimes people lash.
So you're talking about like attitudes or what, just anything like this?
Especially if you're in a high pressure work environment, those who are in the higher positions of leadership in that environment feel the pressure. So a lot of times they'll project that onto you. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's in a way that you can handle, and sometimes it's like, okay, that was really, really unnecessary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you just have to learn how to deal with people and all personality types, because you'll come across all types of people. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's just too much. Sometimes it's just too much. And I'm the type of person, I can't stay in an environment and complain. Mm-hmm. Because I don't like to complain. I just don't. Because I'm too grateful for every blessing, big or small, to complain. So if I'm in an environment where I'm really not happy, versus complaining, I'll just trust God and be like, perhaps this just ain't where you want me to be. Because if this was a God ordained situation, I don't feel like it would put this type of emotional, mental stress and strain on me. Mm-hmm. So at that point, it's like, okay, I trust you and I'm out. I'm going to trust you and I'm going to be out, because this could potentially bring a side out of me that I don't want anybody to see.
That part.
So in order to protect myself and my own reputation, sometimes you have to know when to remove yourself, you know, from an opportunity or whatever.
Yeah. And you don't have to go into detail with what I'm saying right now, but just set the stage. Because I remember I've always had a love for the behind the scenes, like how people work. It's like I have an engineering mind, but for people and kind of what's going on stage and all that kind of stuff. So even as a child, you know, as a young kid, whatever, when God's Property came out, teenager or whatever, I remember hearing whispers of things going on, right, behind the scenes, you know, because I knew God's Property, Kirk Franklin. I knew this, that, and other. And even still to this day, you still hear stuff about gospel artists, secular artists, things going on, paperwork, attitudes, this, you know, and having worked behind the scenes, there are things you're like, oh, this is who you are.
Oh.
Right. And then sometimes people you see that you just know you're going to love are completely different. And sometimes people that everybody talks about, you like, they're more Christian than any of y'all. And, you know, they're looking out for us and they're making sure paperwork is right. And they're making sure, you know, what things when it comes to business do people need to look out for? What are some standard, hey, this type of paperwork, these are your expectations, you know, this is how, you know, you should expect to get paid, or if somebody's treating you right, this is how this works. So that you're not in a situation where you're just, because a lot of people, you just ask them to sing and they're like, okay, good, I'm in. And then they end up losing.
Yes.
But a part of that is preparation issues. So what
preparation. I feel like a lot of times it makes people uncomfortable to talk about money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like going into a job, asking what it pays. Now, I will say this. If you are beginning and you don't have a lot of experience and you kind of paying your dues to grow and to learn in order to become the professional that you desire to be, you will have to take some L's. It just comes along with the territory. It's a part of paying your dues. You know what I mean? Like you take L's and the L's help you to learn. I don't necessarily take L's as losses all the time. But sometimes it's just a learning moment, you know. So for me, that particular L is a learning moment. So that will happen. So if you're just coming into it and you're just deciding, hey, I want to be a working VGB, you can't come in with the same expectations and demands as a seasoned professional who's been doing this 10 plus years. It just doesn't work like that. You know, you have to start from the bottom like we all did. And that's not to say that you should have to take mistreatment or anything like that. No. But be willing to learn. Be willing to do some gigs for free. Be willing to maybe ask singers that you know and you may look up to in your area, you know, let me shadow you. Let me see, you know, let me go to the show. Can I just watch? Can I just see how it goes?
Now if anybody just came and wanted to shadow you, what's the right way to try to shadow you? Because I'm sure people just be trying to get in your face, in your space, and get to know everybody else. So,
you know, first of all, I don't know if anybody wants to shadow me because they're going to be worn smooth out. Okay? So, I don't know because, listen, it gets real crazy on this side. But as far as somebody who has been working to build their reputation and their experience as a working professional, and you are at a place of being able to accept real jobs and things like that, get everything in writing. Don't ever settle for a conversation and thinking that that's going to stand. Communicate through email so that there's always a paper trail of what was said, what was agreed to. And if at any point those agreements are broken, you have the right to say, hey, that's not what I agreed to. A lot of times for tours, especially major tours, there will be a contract in place of basically what you would be agreeing to for your time on the road, from your weekly rate to your rooming situation to per diems, all of the above. And that's when you have the room to kind of negotiate and whatnot. But like I said, even in that, you have the right to say that doesn't really work for me, that does work for me, and just communicate. And I'm a tone person. A lot of times when I go back and read old emails, I'll be like, whoa, I came across so dry. And I'm not a dry person, but when it comes to business, I'm so matter of fact. If you're asking me I'm available, yes, I'm available, you know, or whatever. It's just kind of whatever. So I would also tell people to just be mindful of your tone, you know, the tone in which you communicate with people, because you want to make sure that you're not accidentally rubbing people the wrong way. And I'm very mindful of that sort of thing. Like I try to be very cognizant of how I interact, because I never want to be misread or misunderstood, you know, because I'm generally coming from a good place. So in business, it's easy for that to get misconstrued sometimes. So just be mindful, because relationships are everything.
You said it. Yeah.
Relationships are everything. And I've been a working professional since 1996. I would not have made it this far without good relationships with people, and not building relationships in order to see what I can get from them, but just genuine, like, I think you're a cool person, so I'm going to be nice. you know, and God, sometimes you just never know where your blessings gonna come from. And a lot of times they come, for me, they've come from the most unexpected places where people I was just nice to or cool with, or maybe exchanged a moment with them that I personally didn't remember. Like, I have people come tell me, one day you said this to me and it really changed me or really helped me. And I now wanna, and I'll be like, I said, when I say that? I don't even remember. But I think it counts to just be a good person, because you just never know how tables turn. You never know who God may lay you on their heart to be a blessing to you. And you don't want to go around rubbing people the wrong way just because you're amazing.
Mm-hmm. Or you think,
you know? Yeah, like, no, you don't.
There's always
don't,
someone
don't
else
do
out there. Yeah.
Say it one more time.
There's always someone else out there too that's hungry.
Always.
What you do, always.
And here's another very good thing that people need to know, that a lot of times an artist, an MD, a creative director, or whatever will choose a lesser talented person with a better attitude and that's easier to get along with over a more talented person that's hard to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's just personality, because ultimately, for real, people want to have a good time. Especially in music, people want to work with people who they can have a good time with, because you spend so much time around each other, you do become like family. Yeah. So if you got a funky attitude, if you have a hard time just going with the flow and taking when things change, and, you know, people not going to want to work with you.
That's the truth. Listen, I know that for myself, because y'all, I got a good personality. And y'all do too. But no, I've literally been in situations where it's like, we're going to go on tour and we have this person. But you know what? We like Sharona. She's going to know her part. She's going to know every bit of the music. She's going to know how many times we do this. She's going to know the stems inside and out. She's going to be on time. She's not going to be any drama. You know, well, never mind. We're going to take her. And I'm like, ooh, well, thank you. God bless you. But that's a real
thing.
Because, you know, Erykah Badu, everybody always quotes her. She said, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my stuff. You're dealing with people who are sensitive, and your support to a sensitive artist who's going through their own life and his own tour and all of that anyway. So you don't want to add drama to that.
I know.
And so I can imagine it for what you do. It's just other layers on top of that, because you're having to balance out, like you've kind of implied throughout this conversation, knowing people. There's a social intelligence that you have to have on top of the professional intelligence and all of that, to know, ooh, you don't feel right today. So what I'm going to do, stay out of your way, make sure everything's on point, or you need someone to talk to today. You need to laugh, like you're in this mood. And if you're goofy today, I need to be there with you, because,
social intelligence was such a great way to put that. But a lot of people, and I would attribute it to social media, people becoming so comfortable with not having to interact, that in real life, they become socially awkward. But with this industry, you cannot be socially awkward. You have to have a social intelligence to know how to move with people, the ups of people and the downs with people, and not let it necessarily affect you.
That part. How do you not take it personally when somebody going off and you realize this don't have nothing to do with me?
This don't have nothing to do with me. But it takes a level of maturity, because you have to know where to place things. And sometimes people, especially in high pressure situations, they just lose it, because people are people. And a lot of times it ain't got nothing to do with you. Nothing. So you have to know, you can't be sensitive. You can't wear your heart on your sleeve in this business, baby. No, you have to have tough and very thick skin to be able to let stuff roll off you. Like, okay, all right, understood, moving on.
I got a question. Peach, what do you feel like has set you apart? You have been doing this for a really long time. Like, it's years and years. I mean, because we were kids, both. I mean, I started. So, but what do you think? Because the industries have shifted, artists have changed, and you just maintain, and you've been a part of, I mean, an array of different kinds of artists. What do you think sets you apart that you are favored and chosen?
Well, from the musical side of it, I feel like I was just very blessed to grow up in an environment that was not one-dimensional. I grew up in church, but my mother was very open. Like in the 70s, she had a whole soul record, so she wasn't so this or that. She's always been open to everything. So from early on, she exposed us to all types of sounds, from jazz to pop to, so we could listen to anything. We could watch videos and stuff, movies. So I didn't grow up religious like that, you know, to where we were cut off from the world. But it helped me so much, like movies like The Wiz, movies like Little Shop of Horrors. Think that those are the types of moments that was like, I want to do that. I want to sing. I want to do that. That is everything. And with knowing and being connected to somebody like a Linda Seawright, who started God's Property, she was also very musically well-rounded. So a lot of times when God's Property would have concerts, they weren't necessarily just church songs. They were operatic, you know, they'd show up in sequins dresses and suits and sang opera songs, and she would arrange things with many different various genres of music. She would fuse a lot of things, so that musically enabled me to be very what's the word? My mind just went blank. Versatile. To be able to sing anything and any type of style of music, because I literally grew up that way. My mom was like a Maddie Moss Clark Jr. So she was, sing your part, sing this part, now sing that part, now stay on your note. So she was very, you know, and now I appreciate her for it, because I can't sing any part, and I'm not intimidated when I get called for a session and I don't necessarily know what it is, because I feel like I've been groomed to do anything. So musically, I feel like that's what has given me that that edge of favor in that regard. Personally, I know people, and I've been in some unfortunate situations where I've had to learn how to read people in order for my own survival, you know what I mean? But it helped me to know people. I can read a person from a mile away. So I know what they think and I know what they're feeling, and it helps me to know how to move. It doesn't necessarily change how I move, but it helps me to know how to handle different types of personalities. You know, those maybe that I should love from a distance, or those who may need more hands-on physical love, those who may need, you know, conversations and things of that nature. God has given me a gift of being able to know people, and I don't typically have people problems. You know, if you ever ran across somebody that said, "Oh, I don't like peaches," they probably never ever met me. They probably never met me. They've only seen me from a distance and came up with an idea of who I was on their own. But anybody that has ever met me, 9 times out of 10, the story remains the same. Peaches is cool. If she like you, she love you. Because that's just me. I try to show love to everybody, and even people, you know, because you're not going to necessarily like everybody, but I show love to everybody.
That's good.
I do. And I think that too has also helped me to stay in the game, because I'm easy, you know, so people don't mind me being around, because we're going to have a good time. I'm silly, but I'm going to get my work done. You know, I'm going to do whatever you've hired me to do.
Yeah. I think what you even mentioned, just that network is a lot, but not needing people to have a transaction.
Right.
Instead of, what can I get from you? You know, I can do this, you do this for me. But that genuine, okay, I see you. Because a lot of us, and a lot of artists especially, want to be seen. You know, it's why the art is created a certain way.
Yes. But even beyond what you do, you want to be seen as a person.
Absolutely. Which is what you can interpret. So it's like, if you feel seen through your art even, or seen through this, it's like, you get me. It's, you know, you understand me. You can, when you sing this, it sounds like what I heard, what I felt when I wrote this. And that takes being attentive. So I think even hearing you say that is great. And one of the things I learned about background vocalists early on, because I didn't realize until I got around some real background vocalists. I was like, oh, y'all sing. Because honestly, people don't know, like when you leading, especially in church, you can have a bad day. You're going to change all the notes. You can go, you can play around here. Background vocals is like, you need to be intentional. We all together. How are we pronouncing this A? Is it E? Is it A? Is you doing E? I'm like, what? Yeah. We're doing E. Then do we do this? And do it. So there's like a harmony and a synergy you have to work with other people, to feel other people. That I think is a reflection of you even saying what you're saying, to say, you got to know people. You got to see it from a mile away. You got to feel the people you singing with to know, oh, we're not going to do that today. We're going to do this. Okay. I see how y'all feel. Okay.
Right.
So I think that's really amazing, because for people who are listening that desire to be profitable background vocalists, it's not just about the music. You know, the
music is actually just a small portion of what the job is about. Everything else is social interaction. Mind you, you only perform hour and a half, maybe if you with a, top celebrity at the time, maybe 2 hours. But that's just 2 hours out of 24 that you got to spend with everybody else in the crew. So the singing is just a small part of it.
Yeah, and you're an introvert, right? Are you? Am I reading that? With
no
qualities, or are you?
She definitely has introvert qualities.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm gonna say you have, but that's you're a mystery, Peach, because it does come off like you're an introvert, but once it's like, no, I'm hi.
Like, some people are introverts, but they have extroverted qualities. So it's like, to recharge, they need to be by themselves. They don't charge up by being with people. And that's the difference. The introvert charges alone.
Yes, I charge alone. So if I've had social interaction for days and days and days, I need at least 2 days to myself to recharge. So I guess you would be correct. I am an introvert with extrovert qualities. And if I'm new into an environment, I don't believe in going into a new environment full force. I believe in easing my way into people's lives. Like, let me come in, let me be observant, let me watch. Because that's how I learn. When I go into a new environment, I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to be a little reserved, because I'm observing, I'm learning, I'm watching people, I'm watching how people move. And at that point, my mind is going, okay, you could do this, you can't do that. You know what I mean? And that's just how I gauge how I should handle the situation. But like Isa said, once I'm comfortable, child, I'm on.
I love it. So, okay, have you ever been in a situation then, and we'll wrap it up a little bit, but I'm very interested. You're on tour, and I mean straight touring, okay? And you've had your 3 or 4 days around the people. You've had your 6 or 7 days around the people. And, there's this expectation that Peaches is like this, and she's always like this. And you've gotten to the point where it's like, listen, my battery is low. And I need to recharge, but I don't have the opportunity to do that just yet. What are some ways that you have learned to recharge when you can't do it the way you normally would by getting away because you're on tour?
Well, the beautiful thing about touring is there are bunks, and with bunks, you got your little curtain, you slide. But I'm also a very honest person. I like to tell people how I move so they're not shocked or surprised. So I'm like, hey, if I ever get quiet, disappear, I just need a minute. Ain't nothing wrong. I just need a minute. And typically my thing is I just go to sleep, child. Close my curtain back and I will just sleep. I won't bother nobody. Don't nobody bother me because I'm asleep. Okay. And even if I'm not asleep, I just like the privacy of bunks. Because once my curtain is closed, I could be in there on my phone, doing something, doing nothing. But on the road, that's my time to recharge and choosing. Because I like to hang out. I'm a very social person. But in those moments, I may like, hey, y'all got it. I'm going to chill and just do nothing.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Because people need to hear that. No, but they start.
There's a way to do what you need to do without it coming across nasty.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And I feel like sometimes people have a hard time with balancing and expressing their own emotions and feelings in a healthy way, you know. So it's like, if you need a minute, just say, hey, I need a minute. Don't go throwing stuff around the bus and slamming stuff down. Now everybody's like, oh, what's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. You know what I mean? It's weird. Just
Nothing.
Nothing.
But what you've alluded to is the need to know yourself.
Yeah,
so
Absolutely.
Pre-warn people, you know what I mean? Because when you're saying nothing, that's a reflection of you not being in touch with where you are.
right.
When you say, hey, you guys, you know what? I've had an amazing time the past few days, but I can feel that I'm going to need to recharge. So tomorrow, just if I'm a little distant, you know, don't take it personal.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I just need a little space. I don't want to be short right now, but I just feel like I need to go away, or I have some things going on.
Yeah.
Need to take care of. So don't take it today.
Let me go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
I
go
think
ahead.
I think you about to say what I'm about to say. Go ahead. You go ahead.
If you're blessed enough, like I said, when you spend this amount of time with people, they do become like family.
Mm-hmm.
So having those types of conversations should be easy to say, girl, I'm having a day, girl, I just need a moment. Or look, homie, you know, and everybody's going to get it because we've been around each other so much. It's almost like you can read and feel each other like, okay, you need a minute. So I'm just give you a minute, you know, or I need a minute. So y'all just give me one. But like I said, when people do become like family, the communication is different. And you don't want to rub people the wrong way. And you don't want to make people feel a way or make them think that you're feeling a way towards them. So that's why communication is so necessary, because you want to make sure at all times that at least you are contributing to your work environment being pleasant.
Right.
Let me just add this really quickly, because there are some circumstances where, while you may be aware of your own need to do certain things, not everybody around us have social intelligence. And so sometimes people can take even those conversations and take them completely left. I mean, I know she said, because they don't understand, the difference. You know, we're all different. We all handle things differently. We do things, because you will, brother, sister, whoever you are that are watching this, you will encounter people who don't understand your need to pull back or whatever. In those moments, that is when it is especially important for you to understand yourself. Decide beforehand how it is that you're going to handle people that don't merely understand. Sometimes people just don't understand. It's not a reflection of you, though. It's a reflection of them needing to, just what Peaches says so eloquently this whole time, knowing people. Knowing people involves knowing yourself, as well as the possibility of different kinds of personalities around us. I think one of the best ways to, and you might be someone who is that person who may not understand all the time, because if you're on the road for the first time, you might find somebody you latch on to. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I'm learning this. I'm trying to figure out what this is. And that person may need some space.
Yeah.
I'm with you like 7 days a week, or however long we're together. And what you have to understand is, treat people the way that you want to be treated. Sometimes you may need space. Sometimes you may need a little bit more extra, whatever it is, just have empathy for another person's communication and understanding, for what it is that they're expressing is their needs. So, because that ain't always the case. We got family members that get on our nerves, okay? We all family members, and we love you, but get out of my face, okay? I said you know, right? Because that happens. It happens.
It does.
Misunderstanding. So, yeah, I just wanted to add that. And before we go, because I know we're about to, are you about to, go ahead.
That's really good. I have one more question based on kind of what y'all said about the family, and even thinking ahead is what I hear. You're like, hey, I'm warning you all. As a woman in this industry who is beautiful, who has that personality that people like over time, right?
Baby, let me just say this: Peach BB, okay? Let me just explain.
See, I've gone through.
Never been.
It has many different looks.
Okay.
All the looks. What you want today? But you're talented, you're beautiful, but you're still a woman, which it comes with its own connotations. I remember being in the choir growing up, it was like, if you a soprano, you bougie. If you an alto, you fast. Like, it was just like how y'all just make up. That's what it is, right? And so, you know, you're on the road and, you know, you're single and if people know you single, sometimes you might be interested in somebody. A lot of times people might be interested in you and they might you smiled at me though. I know you interested. It's like I smile at people. I smile at all the people.
I smile at everyone.
But how have you learned to protect your name in an environment that's both professional and family, if that makes sense?
Whew, you know, I'm gonna be real honest. I'm gonna be very, very honest. Thankfully, I have not worked with a lot of men that were available and attractive. Okay. So that's kind of worked in my favor. So I haven't really found myself in compromising situations in that regard. However, when I'm working, I'm a one-track mind kind of girl. Like, and if my dealing with you could affect my bag, then I'm not going to deal with you. Mm-hmm. Because ultimately, as a woman, as a single woman, as a single mother, I'm all I got. Mm-hmm. So if you're not coming into my life to try to upgrade it in some shape, form, or fashion, then I'm not going to waste my time playing with you because I just don't have time for those types of games at this point in my life. Now, maybe 10 years ago when I was mid-20s and a little more playful in that regard, perhaps. But at this point, my focus is just different. So unless it's something that I know could be substantial and real, then I'm probably not going to really entertain it.
You have advice for people you've seen who might not have had that attitude?
Okay. Is this a centered show, Isa?
No. This is full out.
Okay, because what I'm about to say, I need to say it the way I would typically say it.
Full out.
Okay. So the advice I would give someone in that position is do not shit where you eat. Because you just never really know how things are gonna go. And there are people I know of where they dated on the road and ended up married, and that's fantastic. But you have to think, what if this don't work and I gotta see them every day? Mm-hmm. And it's all and it's all circumstantial as well, because there are some people who have the type of personalities. It's like, for me, for instance, I could have dated you in the past and nobody would ever know, because once it's done, it's done. So I don't carry the remnants of we used to be a thing, But if you know that you have a hard time moving on and people will be able to tell that there was once a thing, then it probably wouldn't be the wisest thing to do, Yeah. But that's individual. You have to know yourself and know enough to know what you can and cannot handle. If you can handle seeing somebody you used to deal with every day and it not affect your attitude or personality in any way, then go for it. But if you know that you can't handle that, don't even entertain it.
Absolutely. And you got to know them too, because you might be fine, but they might not be.
Exactly.
I just thought that. I did. I just thought that.
That goes back to knowing people.
Yeah, you got to know people. And you have to be honest, especially when it comes to dating. You got to have the honest, hard questions. Like, if this does not work, I know we're happy right now. I know it's fun right now. But if this does not work, how will it affect our work environment?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Which is why a lot of times there is a no fraternizing clause in place, to
your
prevent
contract.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes there is no fraternizing clause in contracts to prevent any potential drama from relationships and dealing with people inside the camp. So yeah, you have to have real conversations for real.
I love it.
Let me ask this last question. What's been your favorite, top, give me a top 5, cause you've been on tours, G. You've been out here in these worldly streets. Okay. You've been out here. You've been a lot of places, seen a lot of places, but never. What did I just say?
Okay, so what's my favorite? What?
Tours, or gigs.
Mm-hmm.
If you could choose, which ones have been highlights. If you had a highlight reel of your, yeah.
Okay. Tori Kelly would for sure be on my highlight reel. It was just a joy. It was just pleasant. Everything about it was pleasant. She's super sweet. And the environment reflected that. Like, it was easy. It was just easy. It was loving. Her fans were amazing. That was a great environment. So that would for sure be a highlight. Working with Janet is a highlight because it's Janet. Like, that's Michael Jackson's sister, and she knows my name. So really, everybody can just stop talking to me. But that's a highlight. And as crazy as it was, I really enjoyed the Pretty Girls Love Trap Music Tour.
Oh, absolutely. That was everything.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
It was.
But we had such a good time.
We did.
We had such a good time. And last but not least, this Kanye situation, as crazy as it has been, I've enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. It's been a beautiful thing to experience and to witness from this side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got you.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Well, listen, I love you, and the people love you,
and I love the people
because I mean they don't love you.
They're looking forward to you, because I'm asking everybody who they're most looking forward to. I have quotes on the site and stuff like that, but they're really looking forward to you're on there. They're like, she's done so many things, and I'm just looking forward to. You one of the highlighted people, really, honestly. I mean, don't be shocked about it, but you are. You really are.
Honestly, it is shocking because I wasn't always the choice. You know what I mean? So that alone keeps me humble in a whole nother way. When you've been through seasons of being overlooked and made to feel like you weren't good enough, and then all of a sudden there's a switch, and now you're a choice.
There's always a switch.
Honey.
Okay. There's always.
Don't you shout me.
Shorts. I don't know if y'all want to see my shorts today.
And then you know what? The good thing is, like you talked about earlier, sometimes you're the switch. Sometimes when you start choosing,
Hello. Ooh, what a
nugget! Baby, she just read me right quick. You hear me?
Me too. Come on, nugget.
But for real, when you start choosing yourself, it attracts.
Yeah, it does.
People to choose you too. You walk into a room, you already chosen because you chose yourself. People think that the folks that are on the forefront that make the decisions have it all together. And sometimes they want people around them that help them out.
Yeah.
It's that comfort of, like you said before, you weren't always comfortable with these types of things about yourself, or you wondered because you came from here and you're around excellence. When you start choosing yourself and understanding, hey, I'm really versatile, or hey, I'm beat every time. I know when I go to play, you don't have to worry about these things.
Never have to.
I might not be for everybody, but I am for somebody, and that somebody's going to be pleased today, whoever that is.
That's right.
That changes things. And so, for those listening out there, start choosing yourself. Get to know yourself.
Yes.
Not in a cocky way, but in a way that's sober-minded with who you are.
Yes.
And that, I think, helps you to accept others where they are as well.
Yes.
And so I'm just really excited for people hearing your heart. And so really grateful that you would share this time with us.
Thank you for having me.
Your wisdom, your insight into motherhood, your vulnerability there, just your professionalism, your experience. There is so much that you have to offer beyond the stage, just as a person, and just understanding people and understanding yourself. And I think process, like all along, I think a thread that you talk about is just like the process to learning how to be a mother, the process to being a background vocalist, the process to dealing with people. A lot of people listening to this are thinking about the end goal, but it's about the process.
Yeah.
You know, and when you appreciate the process, what you thought was the end goal ends up being just step 2.
Yeah.
Like,
the starting point.
Right. I just wanted to go on tour. Now I've been on these tours, and can I be on tour with this person? Can this happen? Can I do this? What's that? So thank you so much for being you. Just tell people where they can follow you, how they can kind of be supporting you through this process. Even if it's, tell people your Cash App. People might be blessed to want to see. You can give people the opportunity to give in good ground, okay?
Oh, my word.
No, but before you do that, add this to the list. I know that Witch Hazel is a part of your checklist items to have on. I don't know why I remember that. Like, I never knew that Witch Hazel was a thing until you told me.
Witch Hazel was a real thing.
Yeah, like, oh yes.
For you know, because I'm like, how is the skin? How do we prime? And you told me that. But just like give us like 4 or 5 essential things, because I'm gonna make a little checklist that everybody, you know, these are Chelsea's travel essentials. But while you give us your, you know, give us the checklist and then tell us how we can find you, where you are, and that kind of thing.
Okay. Honestly, I'm a really simple girl. I don't have a lot of vocal prep things that I do, or like systems. I don't like there. It's like either I got it or I don't. Either I got it or I don't. But I do try to keep a good water. If I know I have a lot of singing to do. If I'm in the city, I try to find a good bottle of essential water, which I know you stand behind. So yeah, I try to stay hydrated as much as possible, and because I realize I'm on the go so much that I can go all day without drinking anything or go all day without eating anything, and that's not healthy either. So I try to stay hydrated when I know I have a lot of singing to do. My most go-to is makeup. Like I have a travel, like, because when I step on that stage, it has to be right. You know what I mean? So, yes. But yeah, okay. I'm a simple girl. I don't know. I just.
How can we find you?
So what happened when you've been doing this since 13?
Right. You said what?
I said that's what happens when you've been doing it since 13. It just
I kind of show up and see what happens. But you can find me on Instagram at I am Just Peaches. So I am JUSTPEACHES. I don't tweet much. You said what?
It'll be on the screen.
Okay. I don't tweet much anymore. I really want to start back tweeting. I'm trying to find my groove. But my Twitter is PeachyFat, PeaChyPhat. Facebook, Chelsea West. Cash App, oh my goodness. Chelsea Darling, I think. Money sign Chelsea Darling. And just, you guys stay patient with me. I really do want to give you music of my own that reflects my heart, my journey, my life. And that has to happen. So just be patient. I thank you guys for being even remotely interested enough to give me this opportunity to share with you guys. That means the world to me. And yeah, just continue to grow with me, and let's all evolve together. And I'm always be honest and share the good and the bad of everything. And let's just thank y'all. I thank y'all.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, so I'm going to stop the recording.
Okay.